So you're interested in learning to code. What do you need to get started? Well, for starters, and pretty much this is like all you need a computer and an internet connection. There are some phone apps and websites that will tell you that they can teach you to code. Some of these are good supplements, but they are not a replacement for the real thing. And IDE, there's so many benefits to this, and you're gonna have to install it on a computer. Tequila Tech would tell you that the minimum number of gigs of RAM that your computer should have is 8 gigs. I disagree. There's nothing wrong with 8 gigs, but you don't need it. You can get away with less. They would also tell you that they recommend the #1 pick is the Apple M2 at $1,200. I have an M2, it's a fantastic computer, and it is absolutely not the bare minimum budget computer. You can do a lot cheaper. You could get started with either of these computers. So the Chromebook, admittedly, it's on a sale, but look at this, $150 new, even less if you want to go for used. The regular price would be $270. The HP with Celeron, you are looking at $200 if it's not on a sale, and $150 it is on a sale. Overall, you can get in the game for under $300, and if you're going used, you can do even less than that. I do encourage you to check out Windows 10 or newer as a time frame, as a generational measure. It doesn't need to be Windows, just that time frame. Whatever's the Linux or Chrome OS or Mac equivalent. Going older than that, you're gonna run into a lot of problems with library versions, and your experience is gonna be really different and inhibited and slowed down. You could still do it. It would just be like so low performance that I think it's worth forking over the extra $150 to get that new machine. Don't take my word for it. Here's Adrian coding on a Chromebook. He confirmed that you could install Node and build a Create React app server. And he did this a year ago. Chromebooks have only gotten better since. Not only is a Chromebook strong enough to run Node.js locally, you don't actually have to run anything locally. You can use a browser IDE, so your local computer doesn't need to install Node or Python and run the local workload. You can run it in a browser. The trick is you need to make sure whatever cloud-based IDE, if you're going that route, it needs to be able to push to GitHub so that you can build your portfolio. This is super key. One of the big differences between just coding in a Web3 schools playground or a Codecademy playground, basically a sandboxed playground, versus really building a portfolio, quote unquote real coding, is you need to be able to push to your GitHub so that you can grow your portfolio. VSCode.dev is another browser-based IDE in addition to the other ones I already showed you. So you can get away with 4 gigs or under $300. What would I actually recommend though? I do recommend the 8 gigs if you can spare it. If you want to go the Apple route, you don't need to fork over $1,200 for an M2. You can go used for an M1. I would go M1 over Intel for Apple. For the Windows route, Acer and Asus are great brands as recommended by Tequila Tech, but in 2023, you don't need to pay $800 for 8 gigs. You can pay $500 for 12 gigs of RAM, and you can also get that i3 Intel processor, which is substantially better than the Celeron processor. Here you're also getting Windows 11. I would pretty much recommend you start with something very much like this for the $500 price range. I've been coding for 10 years. I love teaching other people. If you're interested in learning, like, share, follow. Join the Discord community in the bio, and I hope to see you soon.